I'm going live. Hi, beautiful souls. It's Sadhana. How are you? Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my weekly Thursday live chat about the tarot. And tonight I am returning to the topic of the court cards. And I've spent a few weeks talking about it. So last week I was sharing tarot books with you. And this week I'm going to go back to the court cards. So I've done quite a few videos on this topic. And I, in the previous videos, had linked them below, and I'll try to do that. But if you go to my playlist about tarot study and more, then you'll be able to find all of the videos that I've done on the court cards. And there was some a while back, some more recently, and then there's been a few lives about court cards. So yeah, so there's lots of resources on my channel for you about that. So yeah, so welcome. Hi, Ange. Nice to see you here tonight. I am just sorting through Poppy's deck because I didn't pull out these cards, and I really want to kind of talk about them because I think in Poppy Palin's Everyday Enchantment Tarot, she does such a beautiful job with the pages. And I'm really interested tonight to hear from you as well too. Which tarot decks do you go to when you're working with the court cards, when you really kind of want to review, study? Hi, Jen, welcome. Yeah, when you really want to spend some time kind of contemplating the court cards, which decks do you find kind of the easiest to work with? So you can let me know about that in the chat. And so yeah, so I'm just going to go through. I have been in the garden, not all day, but just a little bit this afternoon, and I've started planting. So I put a bunch of seeds in. And hi, Nora, nice to have you here. And so I did a quick change, tried to clean the dirt out of my fingernails, but I'm not shuffling for you today, so that is okay. Page of Coins, Page of Wands, Page of Blades, and one more. So yeah. So hi, low to Ange, Jen, and Nora. Nice to have the three of you here. It's a beautiful day here. You can see the glare. I moved back a little bit from the window tonight because last week it was really funny the way when the sun sets at this time of day. Hi, Michelle. Nice to have you here. So yeah, so one of the things I did yesterday was I pulled out that book. I've referred to it a few times before, and that is the one, that older book that is one of my favorites. I believe I wrote the title down here. It's about Tarot and the Tree of Life. And, oh, hi, Jen. I'm sending this from my Google Chrome to see if, yes, I see the message. It's there and it's highlighted. I have a few things I just want to talk about, the kind of the logistics as well of what's been going on with YouTube and some of the funky things that have been happening. I did mention it in my last video. I'm just going to grab that book because for those of you that haven't seen it, I want to make sure you do. Yeah. So first of all, as you may be aware, YouTube is really busy, as are all the chat networks and everything. Hi, Paloma, nice to see you. And so there's all kinds of crazy things going on. And one is if you watch the playback of a live video, you're not going to see the live chat until I think my last one, it took about 18 hours to render. So it's really, really slow right now. And as well, I have found some other kind of funky things going on. So be patient with social media, be patient with the internet. We are so fortunate that we have it and we have this way to communicate with each other. But all kinds of crazy stuff is going down. I don't know if you've had any trouble with the internet or anything. I can't find the fourth page. I don't know where she is. Maybe she's in this pile. So yeah, so and I am going to, I need to assign a few more mods to my channel. I don't know, Ange, if you're interested in being a mod. It's just really nice to have somebody there to greet people if I miss people or if I miss questions. I find it really, really helpful. So if you would like to be a mod on my channel, you can let me know. And you don't have to be here every time, but it's really nice. It's very helpful when I have that support. And sorry, it's taking me so long to find the 4th page in Everyday Enchantment Tarot. Yeah, the live comes up straight away, though you can't see it on your own channel, but then uploads a second time. Yeah. Yeah, so the live comes up, but the chat doesn't come up until later, until the video is rendered. And so for those of you that have a channel, as you know, you can't add cards, you can't add an end card until all that has actually happened. So yeah, so just the technical side of YouTube. Okay, so maybe I'm not finding the 4th page in this deck. Don't know where it is. Anyway, I will maybe look again later. I've got a few other pages ready for you. So yeah, so that's nice. I know Jen has been such a big support to my channel, and last time when I was doing readings, I didn't see her messages and I missed a couple of you. Oh, and I have notes about that as well too. So there was a few people that missed readings in the last one, and so I have made a note of it. And when I do live readings next week, I'll make sure that if you are there, that you get your reading first. And I do apologize. Sometimes it's hard to follow the chat, and things just get really, really confusing. So make sure that if you want me to acknowledge your comment, put it in caps, or put at Integrative Healing with Sadhana, at Integrative Healing with Sadhana, and then the odds of me seeing it are much, much greater. So this is the book, and I know I referred to it a few times. My copy is from 1993 or 1997. I'm just checking here, 1997. And the book is, if you are interested in exploring your study of the Tree of Life and doing Tree of Life spreads, and interested in that connection to the tarot, this is a really nice resource. It is only about the minors. So it does not include, so for those of you that have studied this, I'm sure you're aware that the connections on the Tree of Life, so the flow of the Tree of Life is represented by the majors, and the minors fall into different places on the tree. And I may or may not talk about that tonight, but we're going to talk about a little bit about the pages and where they sit on the Tree of Life. I just find it really, really fascinating. So we have a lot of different paradigms that we can use to help deepen our understanding of the court cards. And I need to kind of stick with that tonight. I'm also going to bring in a little bit about the aces, because there's a kind of a beautiful connection between the aces and the pages. And so I want to go there as well too. So as always, if you do have questions, ask. I'm an open book, and I'm happy to go off topic and yeah, offer what I can. So nice to see you guys chatting amongst yourselves. So that's great. I also mentioned I was going to do a tarot bag video, and I have not shot that yet. I wrote out the instructions. I went into my garage where my sewing stuff is, and the lighting in there was really poor. So I need to figure out how I'm going to shoot that video other than hauling all my sewing stuff into the main part of the house. But yeah, so I have once again been making a lot of tarot bags, and because all those decks that come in big boxes, and I need space, so I'm taking all those decks out of their big boxes and making bags for them. And isn't this pretty? This is the fabric that I chose for the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, which is on my table lately. And yeah, and so it's got this beautiful liner fabric too. And it's really funny? The liner fabric looks like the L of the Llewellyn, which is pretty cute. Yeah. So I love sewing. I have sewn for years and years, and one of my daughters was a competitive figure skater, and the other was a dancer. And so I've made so many costumes over the last 20 years. And yeah, it's nice to get back to the sewing table. That's for sure. And also just to do repairs and things. So let's get back to the court cards. And Amber, I don't see Amber. Okay, I'll do my best to say hello as people come in. So I want to kind of start with the Tree of Life, and it's not a paradigm that I have brought into the previous court card videos. So I will, because I'm going to go back and do knights and kings and pages and queens, and then kind of look at the families in separate. So there's a lot of different topics I want to cover with the court cards. I hope you're not exhausted of this topic. There's just so many things. Oh, Amber was hiding behind me. Oh, okay. I thought I'd blocked her out of here. There's so many things to talk about with the court cards, and I really enjoy the court cards. There's so much to pull out of them. And these 16 personas are just, they're there, you know, shining this mirror back at us, shining this light at us. And I am fascinated with them. So at the top of the Tree of Life, we have, so I'm assuming you all know what the Tree of Life is. Maybe I should get a diagram for you. Never assume anything, Sadhana. I have never officially taken courses like in the Kabbalah. I probably shouldn't even be teaching this. There's so many rules and so many, like I don't, if I say anything that offends anybody, I don't intend that. And I am just fascinated with this whole paradigm and its connection to the chakra system. And it's just so cool how all of these teachings just are all weaved together. And, you know, there have been so many different ways that people have used the Tree of Life to help teach different metaphysical things. So at the top of the Tree of Life, we have these three Sephirot, as they're called. And again, my pronunciation may be horrible. And this is where on the Tree of Life that, according to this book, according to Isabel Rado Kliegman, that the energy, oops, let me turn off my computer, where the energy of the pages lives. And that is at the crown. So we're up at the crown chakra and up at the top of the Tree of Life, where we have this beautiful illumination of, thank you, Victoria, this beautiful illumination of energy kind of shine, this divine light that is shining in. And then we have the 2 and the 3, and the world of the pages is in this top of the Tree of Life. It's, you know how, this is something else I've mentioned before. We've talked about children and different aspects and just about spirituality in general, and how with babies and young children, like the fontanelle is still open on the top of the head, and it seems that their connection to universal energy is so close and it's so beautiful. And I don't know if you've ever observed a child just kind of, I don't know, sitting in a crib or sitting somewhere, and they're kind of looking up, gazing up to the corner of the room, and it's like, oh, God only knows what they're seeing, or, you know, what they feel connected to. And so their connection through their crown it's wide open, and they are not able to articulate what they see. They don't have that, you know, that connection, that cognitive connection. But their beautiful energy is just, I don't know. I just find it so cool how this all kind of weaves together. And so the pages sit up there at close to the crown on the Tree of Life, also associated with the crown chakra. And then in the tree of life, that's also where the aces sit. So maybe this is where I'm going to kind of begin. So I want you to think about a tarot deck like the Rider-Waite-Smith, and where the ace is offered. And in each of those tarot decks, Ange says, the First Nations believe that the babies' skulls are open so they can connect with the Creator. Yeah, it's beautiful. So in the aces, we are offered a gift in the Rider-Waite-Smith and in some other decks as well too, right? It appears like something is being offered from the divine, something's being offered from the universe. And then think about the Rider-Waite-Smith pages. So like the Page of Pentacles is not holding it, but it's almost as if the pentacle is kind of floating above the hands, and it's like it's like the page has received the ace from the divine energy. And in that deck, it's kind of beautiful that, we always say that the aces and the pages are about new beginnings, but I think there's something a lot deeper than that. I think it's the pages who are closer to the universal energy. The pages are the ones who are closest to the purity of the element, the rawness of the element. They are the ones who understand it intuitively. And I believe all of them have a tremendous intuitive capacity. And so I'm just fascinated with this kind of stuff. So let's think about that, about like the ace as being a gift, and the pages are the ones that receive the gift. And so then the question is, what are these youngsters going to do with that gift? And sometimes, you have kind of that old soul kind of energy, and they know exactly what to do with that gift. It's like they were born with that gift, and they know how to be with it, and they know how to move with it and live with it. And sometimes on the very opposite of that, it's like they've been given this gift and they run wild with it, right? It's like, if I bring in, I can't put my elbows on this table. It's going to rock. I don't know how many of you went to private school or public school education, but I found, when I was this is kind of a generalization because it's not necessarily true, but, there's a lot of things that we think of. All your firsts. Think about your first kiss, all of the first things that you tried in your teenage years. And in my experience, the kids in public school had a lot longer string than the kids that were in private school. And I found, and again, that's a generalization, but let's just talk about in general. So people who were not forbidden. What do you want, baby? People who were not forbidden or restricted in a way. Come here. You don't like to be left out, do you? So people who were not restricted and were slow and were introduced to things slowly over time, some of these kind of taboo things are not such a big deal. And I'm thinking about like drinking beer or some other things that you might do at college that would be prohibited or forbidden, or there's so many firsts that come up in the end of the teenage years and your early 20s. So either the pages, I find, know how to handle the energy of the element, or they kind of run wild with it. The trouble is, you stroke Amber, you stroke her once, and then it's like she doesn't want you to stop. It's kind of funny. She can get quite relentless that way. Jen says, Catholic school for 12 years. My parents now question why they paid that money. So, do you know where I'm going with this? Like, sometimes a young person is perfectly capable of handling the energy of their gift, but other times it's just too much for them. So if we want to think about the Page of Swords, hopefully Amber will settle. Amber's my dog, by the way, in case you don't know her name. So think about a kid who is super, super smart, right? Somebody from elementary school or from high school, somebody who's really gifted with intellectual energy, somebody who reads a lot. They really absorb it. They seem to, and they really enjoy it, that kind of Page of Swords kind of energy. They're naturally good at it. They seem to absorb it and understand it a lot faster than anybody else. And there's the kind of kid like that who becomes a know-it-all, and they can be really, really annoying. And as a result, they get teased, they get bullied. Sometimes they get left out, they get excluded. But then there's some kids who just, I don't know, they don't necessarily fade into the background, but by the time when they get to high school, they have a lot of friends because they tutor and they help people and they have a way to share their intellectual energy. And it's like they don't have to prove anything. They just are deeply connected to the element of their energy. And I think when we're looking at the pages, when we're talking about the energy of the element, there seems to be like a real extreme with the pages. And I know there is with every other court card as well too, but just kind of mull that over and think about that and how that relates as we go through each of the pages. So what are they going to do with that gift, and how do they behave with that gift, and how does that gift interact with everything that's going on in their life? Okay. All right. I had so much fun doing all this reading last night. It was I don't know, new moon energy. And I don't know, how did you guys do with that? Have you all set intentions? Have you done any planting of a garden? Like, what have you done with this particular new moon? It just feels to me like there's so much going on on the planet right now that our focus and our intentions right now are really, really important. And so if you haven't said any, I really encourage you to do that over the next 24 hours. Okay, so I'm going back to my notes because I feel like I've kind of gone off on a tangent. I've covered that. Okay, so pages are like the raw element of the suit and therefore carry the most elemental power. So think about what is the power of, well, let's go to Pentacles. So what is the power of Pentacles? What is the gift of Pentacles? And how does the page handle that? And what does a Page of Pentacles look like? And so let's look at some of them, because these are just such beautiful cards. I've got Sasrabito here too, because I think the pages in that deck are really well done. Okay. So this is slow. I'm really sorry. I might have to change rooms until this season changes a little bit. This is slow tarot. She's got a lemonade stand. Isn't that interesting? This is, if I hold it, I'm going to hold it back a little bit, okay? Because I'm hoping some of you guys know these cards. So this is the Page of Coins from Poppy Palin's deck. Can't seem to win here with the light. I thought I backed up far enough. Here is the Page of Pentacles in the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. So in the tarot deck, they're either deeply connected to the earth, or there seems to be a natural inclination towards, well, in these two decks, one is walking dogs for money and the other's got a lemonade stand. But both of them, their business is outside. So I think with this particular page, the gift definitely is something to do with nature. It has a connection to the element of earth itself. They feel very, very connected to animals. And I think most children who possess a dominant quality of a page of pentacles are going to be deeply connected to animals. They're going to have pets. If their family didn't want them to have pets, they're going to be the kind of person that is bringing home injured animals, or they're going to be the one who gets to bring home the school pet for the weekend or something like that. Yeah, it's such a powerful page of pentacles in the tarot of the hidden realm. So let me go to my notes here. Ooh, yes. Someone who senses the miraculous in the ordinary. You know, a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about getting songs together for the queens and stuff, and we also talked a little bit about characters in popular culture who represent each of these. I want to kind of go there as well too. And I want to reinforce something I've said again and again and again. And that is that these 16 qualities of the court cards can be reflected in any gender at any point in life. And so the best example I can give you here might be, if you're a Harry Potter fan, the character of Hagrid. And so think about Hagrid and how innocent and childlike Hagrid is, how connected Hagrid is to all of the beasts, the magical creatures, how Hagrid's hut is away. It's outside of the castle. It's not a castle, the school grounds, and it's closer to the Forbidden Forest. Hagrid is, you know what I mean? Like he's so connected to some of these scary beasts and doesn't see them the way other people see them. And so I think Hagrid is the perfect example of the page of pentacles, right? That childlike innocence and that childlike wonder. Do you remember when Hagrid first stepped into the role of the professor of magical creatures? And he says to Harry at some point, he says, "Am I doing a good job? Am I doing a good job? Am I doing okay?" And so it's that kind of innocent quality that tells me that Hagrid is a page of pentacles, right? He's not a knight of pentacles. He's not a king of pentacles, right? He's a page of pentacles, even though he's this huge guy, this giant, and he's male and he's older, right? Does that make sense? So right now, I'd like you to think about adults in your life, or on television, or in popular culture, who possess a significant proportion of qualities that you would associate with the Page of Pentacles, right? Because I think we tend to, when we get court cards in a reading, we go, okay, this represents a child. What are these kids doing here in the reading? And so it's about qualities. It's about aspects. It's not necessarily about children, and it can be about children, but I want you to kind of broaden your perspective on this if you don't already do so. Okay, so think about it. If you want to put into the chat some other examples, and I love all these kind of movies, you know, these magical movies, and of course, you know, the Hobbits. I read The Hobbit, oh my goodness, I don't know how many times. I have an annotated copy of The Hobbit, and I love Tolkien's work. So the hobbits are definitely, they are all kind of think of Samwise Gamgee, right? Definitely. Samwise is a page of pentacles. He's a mature man, but he's a page of pentacles. So, okay. So yes, if you have other examples, please put them in the chat because it'd be really nice to collect some more examples. I want to also say that these qualities. So when I was reading through these books as I prepare for these lives, and I think about people that are in my life and people that I know, it's like, oh yeah, she's this and this and this and this. And that's because we all have aspects of all of these qualities, right? We're not just, most of us are not just one of these 16 characters in the court cards of the tarot, right? We have multiple aspects, and some of them are going to show up more than others, depending on, what's going on in our life and what is being reflected. So, a little bit more about the Page of Pentacles, if that's okay. I really like this page. The other thing I think is important in identifying this page is that this page is very connected to sensorially. So I wrote down here, this page does not need to be reminded of the sacred in the mundane. This is something I've talked about a few times, that this page sees the sacred in everything. He can see the sacred in the leaf. He can see, or she can see the sacred in a snowflake or in your eyes. He can feel it in your touch. She can feel it in the fur of your guinea pig. She can hear it in the song of a bird. She can hear it in the wind. So this child, when they're outside on a windy day, it's like they're the child that's, got their arms out and they're kind of embracing the wind, or they're dancing in the wind, or they're flying or floating in the wind. They feel the wind. Amber, you are so funny. They are the people that when they bite in, oh, I just spat at you, sorry. I can't win with the lighting here, I'm sorry. They're the people that bite into a piece of tree ripened fruit, and it's like they love it when the juice runs down their face, and they really appreciate that. What do you want, baby? I know the kids have all gone out. So not only in natural things, but can you excuse me just for a minute? And I'm going to see if I can find one of the kids to take the dog. Okay, so please forgive me. You can talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be right back. Kiara, come here now. I need you to take Amber. She's disturbing my video. She's sitting there whining away. I can't talk. Okay. Okay. You should see what it's like teaching yoga from home too. It's pretty funny. Amber has joined a couple of yoga classes. So yes, Amber quite likes this topic. She doesn't like it when everybody leaves. Oh, that looks nice with the sun there. Maybe I should lean forward. So what was I saying? But also this kid. So maybe you are repairing, well, I was talking about sewing machine. Maybe they're the kind of kid that is really intrigued with the sound and the whirring and the details of the sewing machine and how the sewing machine all kind of works. I mean, there's a little bit of Page of Swords in there too, but they're fascinated with how things smell and feel and taste and all that kind of stuff. So they're very sensorially in tune. Yeah, and they love nature. And if they're not near nature, then they can be, they're out of their element, and that's when they can be behaving poorly, or they can be not physically well or mentally well because they're far away from their element. And I think that really applies with all of the pages. And if you want to think about your children in general, when your children are out of their element, what does that mean? Right? You know how sometimes kids get really moody, or they're like acting totally different. Maybe all we need to do, and us as well, right? Because our inner child is out of their element. All we need to do is to get in our element, and everything feels better. And I think that's what it is. My connection with water has to do very, very deeply with my inner child. My inner child needs to be in the ocean, or it needs to be in the bathtub, because that's where I feel comforted and healed and whole. And I said earlier that these pages are so deeply connected with their element. So I think it's really cool. Sometimes we get a little bit confused when the aces are animals. Like, think about Wildwood Tarot, or I don't know what other decks have animal aces. So these pages are intimately connected with the element that is being offered in the ace. Right? There's something really profound there that goes deeply beyond just, oh yeah, this is a new beginning, this is a new beginning. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, because I have found that the more like I was doing those videos about the shamanic decks, and the more I go back to that, the more I go back to those kind of readings and the elements, the deeper the readings get, the more the connections begin to grow. Okay. And there's so many ands. It's just like, it's crazy. Ostera, right? Ostera has animal court cards. Animal court cards and animal aces. I haven't pulled up Ostera for a while. I need to think about it. Okay. And all of the pages, if you follow the same system that I do, are connected to the earth. So all pages are connected to nature. All pages are connected to the ground. All pages are connected to the qualities of the element of earth. Now that is in direct contradiction to what I was saying at the very beginning of this video about the pages being connected to the top 3 Sephirot on the tree of life, and being closest to God, closest to the universal energy, with the open fontanelle on the top of the head. So how do we reconcile that? And I don't have an answer for you, but it's something I want you to kind of sit with. So if the pages are the ones who are receiving the gift from the universal energy, and they are the ones that are closest to that God energy, then would be the element of ether, right? God, sorry. Then why do we assign them to the element of earth, that grounded quality? And I'm sure if I sat here talking away for a while, I could kind of draw a line there. But neither of those feels out of whack. Both of those resonate well with me. They resonate deeply, and I understand them. I just haven't been able to kind of reconcile that. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head. I asked you to think about adults who are pages of pentacles. So pages of pentacles in a love relationship need security. They need to feel safe. And they can be the ones that worry a little more than others, right? They're quite the worry warts. So that might help you think of some. Kind of want to go on because we're already well into this. Yeah, so just kind of start creating a list about adults in your life that are definitely have these page qualities. So let's go on to the Page of Cups, this kind of charming, playful, imagined, playful. I also put with the wands, but a different kind of playful. Very charming, sweet, and easily wounded child. This is the kind of child that you can't use harsh words around. If you use harsh words with the Page of Cups, it's going to take them a lot longer to recover than the other three pages, right? Because they are empathic, deeply empathic. And is a worry. Say that quickly 10 times. Worry wart. So yes, because they are so deeply empathic, they are easily wounded by language. They're easily wounded by actions that don't feel in alignment with their sensitivity. And I think of all of the pages, these children are probably, it's difficult. It's really difficult when you have a child who is so sensitive. And I'm sure you can think of a few people. I mean, I don't find you don't find a lot. I don't know, do you? Do you have a lot of friends that fall in this Page of Cups kind of category? Let me give you some more kind of descriptors, and maybe you can, because not only are they sensitive, but they're that kind of, they have anything is possibleness about them, right? Anything is possible. They have a very light energy to them, right? There's a lightness in their step. There's a lightness in their aura, in the way they move. Yes, and creativity. So they could also be that the emotions, the love, the bubbliness also can be a bit of a ham, right? They can be a bit of a comedian. And as this Page of Pentacles moves into their teenage years, into their young 20s, they can be that kind of person that's always looking. They're the ones that are always cracking a joke. And I wonder if these are the ones that are having a really hard time dealing with their own self-esteem. So there's a lot of emotional baggage that goes with this Page of Cups, right? Because they tend to cover it up with humor, and they can express it really well through the arts. So if you give a paintbrush to a Page of Pentacles, they are going to, do beautiful things with their hands. Not pentacles, cups. Page of Cups. That's the one that I couldn't find in this deck. So let's find another Page of Cups. Like I said, I was in the garden today. I did not pull out a lot. Ooh, speaking of the garden, this is the Page of Cups from the deck that I've been using so much lately. I'm going to get this Sasarai Beetle out. So I want to talk about that fish also in this Page of Cups, because I think that's an important thing to kind of tie in here. I definitely have one child who is more Page of Cuppy than any of them. And I think this whole empathic quality of the Page of Cups also is tied, and their emotional sensitivity might be easy to identify. It's the child who gets a lot of nightmares, or maybe night terrors, or the child who also is there. Now, this also goes for page of, see, it's so hard to separate this, because I was going to say they're the ones that perhaps are a little more clairaudient or clairsentient. But you also will see that with a page of wands as well, too, like deeply spiritually connected. I guess I've used my Satsuraibito lately, so they're not, oh, maybe they are not sorted. So the page of cups, it's not really. Page of wands, sorry, I'm just kind of saying these are not. So here's the page of cups in the Satsuraibito. So she's holding a key and a bow, and the key, so the keyhole is just above her heart here. So the key is going to unlock her heart. And that's a hard one for me. I'm gonna leave that one. I think the page of wands and the page of swords are easier to talk about in the Satsuraibito. I think if we go in too many different directions, it gets really confusing. And so that is the problem when deck creators kind of bring in, I mean, every deck creator has their own perception, right? And their own intuitive way that they see and they feel these. And I think that's why we need to keep going back to the elements. The page of cups is connected to the element of water. The element of water is connected to emotions. It's connected to mental illness. It's connected to the subconscious. And so that subconscious is represented by that fish that appears in a Rider-Waite-Smith and other Rider-Waite-Smith clones. And so when the page of pentacles comes in direct contact with feelings, with memories, with karmic experiences they don't understand, they're so mesmerized by it. And in their naivety, in their lack of experience, they don't exactly know what to do with it. So I find that page of pentacles people tend to be a lot of maintenance. They're really, really high maintenance. Sorry, I'm just reading Anja's comments. She's got lots of good things she's saying here. So I want to, so the high maintenance thing about the page of pentacles. So think about relationships with people who are emotionally high maintenance. And you should be able to then figure out who in your life, is the page of cups or has strong page of cup qualities. Maybe a little codependent. They need regular reassurance that they are loved. And they need the sweet words. They need to be heard. They want to be asked, how are you feeling? Right? They might not at a young age have the words to express it, but they definitely, as they get older. So I have a 20-something-year-old page of cups. She's also a knight of cups, but she is, if I don't ask her how she is, if I don't ask her how she's feeling, if I forget to do that, it makes for a really, really bad day. So there is that sense of they're easily overwhelmed also, and they have many, many triggers. And the reason they have many, many triggers is because they're so deeply connected to their subconscious, and their subconscious seems to be bubbling up all the time. And so if you believe in reincarnation, and if you believe that we choose our path in each lifetime based on what we have to learn and the journey we have to go through and the things we have to rewrite and the patterns we have to shift and all of that, the page of cups has chosen a really difficult karma because they are dealing with a lot of subconscious guck. And instead of thinking of them as high maintenance, maybe be a little more sympathetic and understanding and empathetic yourself in acknowledging the challenging path that they have chosen. Because I know firsthand, it's really, really hard. So I hope you're all just listening. Nobody's really giving me anything to feedback off here. So let's go to some Page of Pentacles. So I said empath, and I have. How many of you are Friends? Are you Friends fans, aficionados? I was trying to think. I'm thinking of Phoebe in Friends, and Phoebe is she borders on the Page and the Queen of Cups, because in many ways, but she is a musician. She's a sort of a musician, and she is psychic, but she's very childlike, right? I think she's definitely a Page of Cups. I love Phoebe. She's my favorite character in Friends. And the music teacher in Glee, the man, I don't know, I can't remember his name. The one, he's like, everybody goes to him, everybody's leaning on him. He's a bit like a counselor. So again, he is leaning towards the Queen of Cups as well too, but he has that childlike quality about him. So yeah, so think about in TV shows, in books, adults who possess these qualities. And for sure in like rom-coms, we can go to so many rom-coms where we have codependent relationships and childlike behavior and that kind of thing. So, but I think empath is a really good a thing to keep in mind for that particular page. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm going to keep on going. So now we have Page of Wands and Page of Swords. And I think these two are a lot more straightforward. And I love these two from the Sastra Vito. Love, 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 love. Love these cards. They're cartoon-like quality. And, this Page of Wands is awesome. I have not had a Page of Wands kid, but a lot of my friends have Page of Wands kids. Here's another one. A Page of Wands kid is the one who is, and actually that's not true. My son, a little bit. So this is the kid. So you're out for a family walk, and this is the kid that is not on the path. This is a kid that's walking along the top of the bank of the wall, or they're the ones that are the kid that is climbing up on the monument. They're the ones that if you go for a day of skiing with the family, they're going out of bounds before they even know what out of bounds is, because they want to ski through the trees. This is a kid that just, this kid really challenges the teacher and pushes the buttons of the teacher at school. They are so vivacious. They're so energetic. And I find with Page of Wands energy, they either have they're either on or they're off, right? They're either go, 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 go. And when they go to sleep at night, it's like, boom, they're done. They're done. On button or off button. So yeah, they are just full of, I'm looking at the wrong page here. Page of Wands. Okay. I also wanted to go back to the Gift of the Wand in that Rider-Waite deck. So the Page of Wands, I believe, is holding the wand this way, and they're kind of scrutinizing the wand, and they're looking at it like, what am I supposed to do with this thing? What is it going to do? And then when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about Ollivanders. I love going back to Harry Potter. And if you imagine each of the kids in the Harry Potter series, we only see Harry in the first video, but think about how each of those kids would have acted when they went to get their first wand, and what it would have been like standing at the counter with Mr. Ollivander in receiving their wand. And I think that's a really fun exercise. So I imagine a page of wands is going to take the wand, and they're going to need to play with several. They're going to need to try at least 7 or 8 wands, and they're going to destroy the shop and have so much fun. And they're going to think it's like hilarious to, break the glass beakers or something like that. And I don't know if there really is a page of wands in the Harry Potter series, like a really feisty, fun feisty, not mean feisty kind of character. I have to think about that. Sometimes on these tangents, I'm just kind of going with it, random thoughts, and I haven't completely put these together. So forgive me. So page of wands. So on the other side of this, I love risk. I love adventure. I love to play. Ooh, think of the Page of Wands in the Osho Zen. That's a pretty beautiful card. There is this other side of I never want to grow up, Peter Pan syndrome kind of thing. And that is how you're going to identify your adult Page of Wands, right? That I want to remain Peter Pan through my adulthood. It's that kind of guy or girl who would prefer to travel all their life. They would prefer to always be on the go. They would prefer to be changing jobs regularly rather than settling down. They're always looking for their next adventure. And there's that aspect, but there also is this magical quality, and I talked about that a little bit with the Page of Cups. It's the Page of Wands, and so if they have this natural connection to the element of fire, to creative energy, and to spirituality through that element. And so this is where sometimes we get stuck on certain keywords for certain cards, and then we get really confused. So it's important to understand what I said at the beginning. I think all of the pages are connected to God. All of the pages are connected deeply to universal energy, and all of the pages have the potential to use magic and to be deeply connected to magic. And there's a naivety, and there's an innocence, and there's a playfulness in all of them, right? So, yeah, I get that, Jen. It's very much like that ADD, ADHD mind. So there's that. There's that piece. I never want to grow up. The shadow side is that these kids, in their exuberance and their playfulness, can also go too far. So I asked you about that at the beginning. Like, what happens if you receive this gift and then you run wild with it? So these kids could actually end up being the bullies. Not the bullies with the language, but the actual, like the physical bullies. These could be the leaders of the leader of the Mean Girls, right? These could be, yeah. So sometimes if that one's easier to look at with a younger persona, but perhaps you can think about the page, like think about politicians. Is there a politician that you feel kind of possesses that childlike wielding of power, right? And you wouldn't normally associate a politician with the page of wands, but we can, if we kind of stretch our thinking, we can really begin to understand what this is and what this energy is about. I wanted to see Tarot of the Hidden Realm because, oh, this one is beautiful. So this is the kid that was born to be a wizard, right? This is the kid that was born to play with the magic. This is the old soul, Page of Pentacles, as opposed to, sorry, I keep getting them mixed up, Page of Wands, as opposed to this Page of Wands, who is running wild with the energy, right? So we need to be able to see in a tarot reading the range of qualities. In a lot of the Wands court cards, you're going to see desert, or you're going to see like a dry environment. There's going to be maybe forest fires in the background, house fires in the background. And this is a reminder that it's very easy, right, for this character to get out of control, and there needs to be balance here. So this page, and actually all of the fiery court cards, I find I'm really looking for balance with this element. I find that this one is really, really easy to kind of go over the top. I kind of want to go to the swords, and some of these I'm spending more time on than others. Ooh, okay. But just before I leave this, Page of Wands, adults who never grow up, who have that kind of quality of risk adventure, not really thinking of the consequences of their next action, perhaps not wanting to get married or stay married. Oh, and there's also the sexual energy too, right? So the next conquest, or just really enjoying the pleasure of the experience, not so much about the relationship. So there's that as well too. So I was thinking, this was an example from a book. So if you know who Scooby-Doo is, the character of Shaggy. Shaggy is also a bit Page of Cupsy. But what about Owen Wilson? I was thinking about the kind of characters that Owen Wilson plays in certain movies. And this is more looking at the shadow side, that Peter Pan, the older, I need to think of a woman. Think of a woman that, oh, hi, Paula. Nice to have you here. Is there a woman in a drama or a series on TV that never grows up? I need to think of an example. I don't watch a lot of TV. Maybe that's the problem. I'll have to think about that one. So I'm going to leave that question with you. So the last one is the Page of Swords. And again, I don't think this is a difficult one to understand. Love this one from the Slow Tarot. So beautiful. Very, very similar energy to Sassy Burrito, hey? Very, very similar. And then what do we have in Tarot of the Hidden Realm? Where is the Page of Swords here? Just curious. Oh yeah, this is really beautiful. Really beautiful. Billy from Offspring. I don't know that reference. So, Page of Swords. Page of Swords. When I think of the Page of Swords, I think of Harriet the Spy. I think of, do you guys remember Doogie Howser, MD? Or I grew up reading Nancy Drew. Um, and Nancy Drew also definitely has Page of Wands in her, for sure. But there is this cleverness. There's this natural cleverness. Like they're really smart. And it's a really kind of beautiful energy and balance between the intellect and the will. And they're very, very different from the Page of Wands. And it has to do with that tapping into the intellect, I think, and um, that internal wisdom. Earlier on, I was talking about pages of swords who kind of fall into that know-it-all category, and they have a hard time managing their intellect, as opposed to somebody who is just they're completely comfortable with their intellect, and they act more as a tutor, and they don't need to show off all the words that they know, right? They're able to just kind of be in their individualism with their intellect. um, Love Doogie Howser. Yeah, that was a great TV show. um, oh, there is another one. So yes, okay, Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, for sure. Who is the Page of Swords in Grey's Anatomy? What is that doctor's name? She graduated from high school early. She went to university. She's a cardiothoracic surgeon. And her behavior, the way she acts in relationship, she's definitely has a lot of qualities of Page of Swords. Oh, what's her name? Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Put her name down there if you know who I'm talking about. So her weapon is intellect. And we also have this connection to words and to language. And so the one thing that you don't want to happen is what happens if in a family you have a Page of Swords and a Page of Cups. Jen says, know who you mean, but can't think of her name either. So the trouble is that this is a really, really sensitive, empathic soul. And this is a child who loves to play with words and loves to use language and can very easily use their weapon, use their gift to cause hurt and to cause harm, because they don't know how to deal with the feelings. They don't know how to deal with the emotions. So they can be very, very sharp with their words and with their language. They're the kind of kid that says, I hate you. And that's all they have to say. And it hurts. And especially if you have a lot of Page of Cups qualities, you're going to have a really hard time dealing with the kid that throws out those kind of words. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Um, so with the Page of Swords, right? So if they're receiving this sword as a gift, it's a pretty scary thing, right? To give a page a sword, and they don't know how to wield it. They don't know how to put it into the scabbard and take it out. Scabbard, is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. To put it into the little protective thing and take it out. They don't know how to use it. Just like like sometimes I remember when I was in elementary school and we had a Japanese girl that came to our school, and she learned her first four-letter word, and I'm pretty sure we were not swearing. I don't know how she learned it or where she picked it up, but I remember her repeating it when it was the F word. And we were on the playground at school, and she kept saying this word over and over and over again. And it was like she was just like playing with it, like using it just to antagonize people. And she loved the reaction that using that word got. And and I'm reminded now of lots of scenarios where people use language just to poke at somebody, right? And that is the power of the Page of Swords. So, on a more positive side, we have Doogie Howser, but on the other side, we have that kid that's like a mosquito, right? And that kid could definitely be a grown-up person too. So I didn't write down who a good grown-up example of a Page of Swords would be. I need to think about that one too. Of the annoying Page of Swords. So you can also think of the Page of Swords as somebody who has a lot of altruism. They will stand up for anything. They will rise to the occasion because they believe in something. In their deep in their soul, they will they'll feel it and they'll believe it and they'll stand up for it, and if they have the skills, they will speak up for it. And even before they can, like, they will defend themselves to the end, right? Paula says, my youngest loves words to discover on a more intellectual way, but she's also a very sensitive soul. So split between Page of Cups and Page of Swords. And yeah, and so we all are, right? We all have these flashes of these 16 different phases. So the other thing too about these Page of Swords, and this is something maybe you can help me with, because the whole right brain, left brain thing. And from everything that I've learned, math and languages are connected to, oh, now I'm going to get this up. Math and languages. Anyway, my point here, so now I've got my brain all turned around. To me, math and languages doesn't necessarily go together, but according to research, it does. And Pages of Swords are the kids that are going to see the patterns before you do, or the adults who are perhaps addicted to crossword puzzles or Sudoku, or can solve them really, really quickly. Maybe the Page of Swords is actually the adult that loves gaming, because they can see the patterns, they can see the path in the video game. So maybe that's the example that I'm looking for, is that they see the patterns almost as they are appearing, so they can navigate through the path really, really well. Left brain equals analytical, right brain equals creative. Right. So why then do some scholars connect languages and math as the same kind of part of the brain? Because languages require a tremendous amount of compassion. In order to speak a language fluently, you have to understand the culture. You have to understand the power of the language and the power of the words. Interesting. So many cool things to think about, right? And just for me right now, just watching and listening to my own words, I'm kind of answering my own question. So that's pretty cool. All right. And then I have a note here about Harriet the Spy is also very page of earthy too. She likes tomato sandwiches. Um, so if I think of adult detectives and I think of Columbo, Columbo is very page of, Page of Swords. Page of Swords. Is Columbo Page of Swords? Is the bumbling detective? Because he's very bumbling, right? Doesn't really, but he's also very, very clever, right? So is that an act, the way that he is? I don't know. Sometimes it gets so very, very mixed up. So I hope that this discussion kind of opens up a conversation within yourself, within your readings to, I'm just going to read let me finish my sentence. I hope that this conversation opens up some inquiry into how you read the court cards. And for me, there's two things that came through as I was reviewing all of this. One was, what am I going to do with that discrepancy between the pages being connected to the gifts they receive from the universe and them being associated with the element of earth? Right? So how am I going to rein that one in? And then the other thing that came through loud and clear last night that I really haven't been focusing on was the strong elemental connection with the pages and how the pages totally understand the ace. The pages are so raw and so connected to it, and they might not even understand it. They don't understand it on an experience level, but they feel it. And maybe that's where the element of earth comes in, because I remember I was talking about how the Page of Pentacles, they see things, they hear things, they feel things, they experience everything sensorially. And so maybe that is a quality that is common to all of the pages. Don't know. So this is just meant to be food for thought. And I find that, yeah, Combo forgets a lot too. I find that, as you know, with me in readings, it's all about the surrounding cards. And if they're focusing on something, like, so for example, if this Page of Swords comes up in a reading and there is a card down below, what is that sword piercing into? Maybe that sword is part of a playful gesture, right? And experimenting with language and experimenting with communication. It's really important to know what that sword is pointing at, because also you notice her gaze, the fairy's gaze, is also in that same direction. So that definitely plays a lot into my readings and how I read the court cards. And really kind of working more and spending more time with the elements and trying to bring in the balance in the readings. Like, do you in a reading consciously count the cards and say, okay, there's two pentacles, there's one sword, there's one cup. Oh my God, there's no fire. So what does that mean when there's no fire? So does that guide your reading to when the element is missing or when there's an abundance of an element? And I think that is almost more important than getting hung up on any symbols that you're missing or something like that. So these are all important, really important qualities. Yeah. And. So I want to also say that I do really feel the artwork. I definitely spend time feeling the artwork. And as you know, in this deck here, within all of the silhouettes, there is a tremendous amount of inquiry that can go into this. So this Daughter of Cups, her hair is blowing up, looks like fire. Her connection to earth is loud and clear with this dandelion or whatever the flower is growing through her. The stem is right up her spine. The color is pink. And so it's very, there's just so much to draw on. And I think that's why I love it when these court cards appear, because there's so much to work with. And it's fascinating and I love it. And yeah, so questions. Do you have any questions for me? Paula counts. Paula counts cards. So, how are you? I mean, a lot of you weren't here at the beginning. How are you doing? Are you, can you believe that this environment is carrying on and we're all still in this really unusual experience? And I think for me, the connection between the COVID-19 experience and what we're talking about tonight is that when I'm looking at the pages and we're talking about the gift that each of those pages has received, this morning when I was doing my yoga class, I was talking about, like, are you really understanding the gifts that this isolation, are you really understanding the gifts that this experience has blessed you with? Has blessed not only you, but your family, has blessed the environment. There's some serious blessings, gifts that have come with this. And yeah, of course, there's a many of other things as well too. But what if we all focused on the gifts of this experience? I think that would be pretty beautiful. So thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Jen says, it has just started to feel like a new normal to me. I think it's going to feel strange when things return more to the old normal. And just still at home, and situation is worse in Quebec compared to the other provinces. Yeah, Quebec and Ontario in Canada are definitely the hardest hit provinces as far as the health issues go. Yeah, everybody stay safe. And sometimes we do have to go out and just take care of your physical bodies and do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family, and do your best to eat well and to look after yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I swear, yoga is my savior in all aspects of my life, right? In the aspect of moving through things physically, like the physical yoga practice, like just like not necessarily doing a whole practice, but just doing one posture. There's so much involved into just settling into a posture and the awareness and moving through different parts of the body and connecting the mind and the breath to the body. And we can do that just by sitting mindfully or walking mindfully, right? Walking mindfully. And I don't know, all of these practices now seem to be more important than ever. So it's been nice. Thank you for all these extra comments at the end here. Paula says, I got some sencha green tea, chrysanthemum tea, and ginger tea. Ooh, that sounds beautiful. Yeah, tea is great, isn't it? It can be just so very, very medicinal. Yeah. So I'm going to leave you, and I wish you well. And I'll be back soon. And I don't know whether it will be pre-recorded or I'll come on live, but I'll be on live again soon doing more readings. And just make sure that you ring the bell so you get all the notifications so you can find out when I'm on again. So I want to wish you well and take care of yourself and your loved ones. Namaste.